I'm stirring the number one best drink for writers with an elongated spoon. The only way to optimize the taste of the number one best drink for writers at the molecular level. But first, I'm going to tease you with some other drinks that may be commonly confused as the best drink for writers. The first you may be thinking is, oh, it's coffee, right? And no, it's not coffee. I do drink that during the week, but I try to phase out of it. And the reason I discovered the real number one best drink is because I started drinking too much coffee, and it was causing chest tension around my heart, which they say is just a physical symptom of caffeine-induced anxiety. But regardless, it's not coffee. But if you're looking for a tip to make the best cup of coffee, get some locally fresh roasted beans. And what I do is I take two water bottles. I put them in my electric kettle. It's two full, about 16-ounce bottles. I weigh up 32 grams, 28 to 32 grams of those beans. Put them in here. Grind them up. So this is the cap for the grinder. I grind up that 28 to 32 ounces. I put it in the French press, and I stir it up a couple times till it settles. Or once I've added the approximate liter of boiling water. And that is good for the day. But I treat that strength of coffee kind of like a medicine. I'll have about half of it before I go in to teach, and then I sip the other half, which is, I would call like medical grade coffee. It's very strong. But those sips keep me energized throughout the day without having to go to the bathroom too much, as if you were drinking a weaker coffee, but more of it. So it's not coffee. Although if you're going to drink coffee, take the time to do it right. You may be wondering, is the number one best drink for writers alcohol? No, it's not. I do not do that either, and neither have some of the greatest authors. Or well, they did, but then they stopped, such as Stephen King, David Foster Wallace. Interestingly, alcohol comes from the Arab word alcohol, and a homophone, a word that sounds the same in Arab, is alagul. Which just might be a bit of a stretch, but the idea of alcohol is spirits. And if you look at the fruits of alcohol in people's lives, it's often as if there is a trickster or maybe even evil, prankish spirit working through them when they consume that. So it is not algul, if you'll call it. On a random note, when it comes to different drinks and plant-based drinks, whether it's coffee or things like alcohol, you have to. I'm curious about the implication of drinks being called spirits. Mike Cernovich has done ayahuasca, the plant drink, I think, from South America, which I have no intention of ever doing. It's known for gigafrying and one-shotting normie brains. Can cause psychological issues and breaks from reality and psychotic episodes if it's not integrated or managed well. But each plant, the idea for Mike Cernovich is that these plants have spirits, and so he makes the claim that so does marijuana, and that people actually worship these spirits. If you call someone a pothead or a weed head, they will get angry and argue and defensive about this spirit that they worship and demand that you call it by its true name, such as cannabis. Instead of calling someone weedhead, no, it's cannabis, which I have no interest in that either. That is not the number one drink or substance for writers either. But it's interesting that every plant or thing you consume, especially when it comes to plants, to think that they have a spirit and what effect that has on you. Why do we call alcohol spirits, and extend that to tea, other drinks like ayahuasca, coffee? What is the spirit of that drink? So with that, I will reveal the number one drink for writers that I have come to enjoy. And the spirit of this drink, you could say it's a Zen-like meditation. When I first discovered this, a variation of this drink, I experienced a bit of a euphoria, this optimism looking out my same front window last spring, where I just felt lifted. And what I find to be the number one drink for writers is Gyokuro green tea. So you'll notice I stirred it at the beginning, and this is actually my second brewing. So what I do is per 16 fluid ounces of water, which is just a bottle of purified water, so you're not getting scum and gunk, mineral buildup at the bottom of your electric kettle. What was I saying? So I do, 2 teaspoons, and I use an actual teaspoon, usually rounded, per 16 ounces, because the guideline from Arbor Teas, where I get this from, it's in Ann Arbor, arborteas.com. I'll link it in the description if I can, but I have less than 50 subscribers, so it doesn't always let me link stuff. But Arbor Teas, as in Ann Arbor, Arbor Teas, they recommend doing 1 teaspoon per 8 fluid ounces. I stir it for the 2 to 3 minutes, and I already did one infusion of it. For the second one, I added an additional teaspoon and an additional 16 ounces of water. Now, I've deconstructed my French press to where I just use the screen that came with it. I never actually press. If I have like bigger leaves, which I'll show you some varieties of in a minute, I may just catch it and sift it through here, holding it over my cup like this. But you'll notice that the tea, simply by stirring it with the elongated spoon, has settled. And I love the vibrant color. It's a very nice green. Gives me basic energy to write, nice mental clarity. And this Gyokuro is grown in Japan. Now, the interesting thing about Arbor Teas is they even mention that they test their Japanese teas for radiation levels because of the Fukushima nuclear disaster years ago. In recent years, I don't remember the exact year, but this is grown on the far end of Japan from where that disaster happened. I think they said it's on the south end of Japan is where this is grown. But Gyokuro is not your average green tea. It's a premium Japanese tea. The first green tea from Arbor Teas that gave me the euphoric feeling was sencha. And that has more of like a grassy, like fresh cut lawn, like tartness to it, or bitterness, but in a good way. And it got me feeling lifted. But this is considered a step above that, and it's premium. So what they do is they shade it, and I've seen videos on YouTube where they actually cover it with like black like nets. They shade this for the final weeks before growing, and what it does is it increases the green chlorophyll content, which increases the caffeine and I believe the L-theanine by that process. I'm looking for my bag of the Gyokuro here. So I'm going to have to order another bag. I've been ordering the 5-ounce bags. I don't know if it's like $40 or something, but I've gone through several of these. And the tea, you can watch videos of how it's made on YouTube, Gyokuro tea. I guess I'll spell it in the description. But I don't know the best way can't really turn my palm that way, but it's a fine, it almost looks like pine needles because they roll it. And you'll see once I pour this out how they expand. But they start out as rolled pine needles, very dark green, emerald, verdant, whatever you want to call it. And I'm doing a freestyle here. I don't have video editing skills. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I do have teaching for many years has given me the ability to yap on command in a stream of consciousness style, so we're going to go with that. But yes, it's grown, shaded in Japan. It's a premium tea. They roll it into those fine needles. And I find that when I first drink it, it's lifting. It gives me a relatively intense focus. It's great for writing, whether I'm doing copywriting emails for a client, building my fictioneering course, or what else, just whether I'm planning for school, journaling. It's great for journaling, that kind of clarity and that liftedness. It has the caffeine for that, which sometimes I feel the tension. It can be strong, But it also has high amounts of L-theanine, which is calming. So sometimes after an hour or so of work, I'll actually want to lay down and I'll feel quite sedated. So that's why I like coffee during the week, because you can make it stronger, something to just sip and get bursts from. And coffee can punch through a heavier breakfast of like eggs, toast, what are they called? Mandarin oranges, the cuties. Coffee can punch through that. But tea, I like on the weekends on an empty stomach. Sometimes I'll take an emergency packet, like for some vitamin B and C on an empty stomach. Today I had a LMNT hydration drink to go with this. I had the citrus flavor to just get salt and fluid in my system. But I like to have the tea on an empty stomach and do some journaling or whatever I'm going to do to start today. Today I enjoyed it while watching streaming and online church service. But yes, so let's continue. When you stir it up, it will naturally settle. That's why I've deconstructed the French press, because it's less cleaning. I call it the French cowboy method, because the cowboy method of coffee is where you just stir it in a pot until it settles in a boiling pot. So I call it's French press combined with the cowboy method, where you stir and then eventually let it settle. And I've already used this cup, but and this cup is glass. It's from Anchor Hocking. It's made in Ohio. I got it for like $4 at Meijer. This one, I stopped. I don't like stainless steel for drinks anymore, because the stainless steel affects the flavor to me. So I moved towards glass containers, tempered glass that can hold hot beverages. This is what I use to bring my coffee or tea to school or out and about. It is a keep cup. Last I saw it was like $35 on Amazon or something. And when I got this one, I forget how much it was, but it shipped all the way from the UK. But it's been very good, easy to hand wash, and it's got the cork grip, so for when it's hot. It holds a little bit of flavor to where I don't like the way tea tastes in this, so I prefer to take coffee on the go. But these Anchor Hocking glasses for just $4 are excellent. Keep the flavor pure. So I guess I'll put it up to the microphone over here, and I'll do it visually. So it's this easy to pour out. And you just do it slowly so the leaves don't do the little ASMR there. Get it up next to the microphone that's out of shot. But as you can see, the leaves are really not getting in there, and the ones that do make it in, they usually settle. Look at that. No filter needed. That is a cup of good energy. And with the second brewing, it tends to hold more water in there, which at that point, if I really want that extra and I don't want to make it, I can just hold this, strain it right over, which I do if the tea has bigger leaves that like to float, depending on the tea that I'm making with this Gyokuro. You can also see how it turns from a pine needle and how those expand very nicely. But I've got about 16 fluid ounces of Gyokuro tea here. Beautiful color in that bright gray-white winter sky coming through. But you can see it's illuminated by daylight. A bright but overcast day, winter day. Perfect temperature for drinking, because it was sitting for a while I was yapping. I like drinking it plain. I tried it with honey. Get a good local honey. I experimented with using the frother to aerate coffees and teas. It makes a slight difference. The thing I like to do, the best tea that goes with, and I'll show you my top teas, because with Arbor Teas, I spent hundreds of dollars getting sample packs, because they're only a couple bucks, but then I found the ones I like, and I'll share the best of the best with you if you're interested in getting some quality organic teas. But the best one for honey, which I need to order more of, is this Silver Needle white tea. It's from China. I was gonna make it today because there's some combinations you can do where, like, for example, yesterday I made the first brewing of Gyokuro by itself. The 2 teaspoons in 16 fluid ounces of water. And then for slightly less caffeine, but a good flavor blend, I added 2 tablespoons, because I did an additional 16 ounces for the second brewing. I did 2 tablespoons of the Silver Needle. This is from China, and these are just beautiful. I believe it's called a white tea because you can still see the buds or the hairs on it, the baby hairs on the tea, because it's picked as in its budding stage. But these are beautiful. You can see they're rolled to needles, but they're intact. They have the slight baby fuzz on them, and it's just a beautiful tea. This is the best one that goes with honey. I don't like to do honey on an empty stomach. Usually, if I'm after I eat like a late breakfast on the weekends, if I'm having the white tea, I'll have the honey frothed in. I take local honey, put about 20 grams at the bottom of this, pour in, a couple fluid ounces of the brewed tea, froth it, and then add the rest so the frother isn't blasting it anywhere. But this is kind of bottom of the bag of the Silver Needle. Like, I got maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons left in here. So it's a little bit like, more broken up, but these things are long and beautiful tea leaves. This is my most recent discovery that I've tried, and I'm adding it. I'm going to be ordering more of this with more of the Gyokuro probably today. Placing my order at Arbor Teas. I'm not sponsored, by the way. This is just like something I've been meaning to do. I've been meaning to do this video for a while. Also to document, this is probably going to be peak beard and hair. Let my hair grow out for almost 2 years because it's thinning on top. I'm like, this is my last chance. But I just let the beard go accordingly. But I also just, I don't know if I'll ever grow it out like this again, so I wanted to document that too. And I figured I'd do it all with a YouTube video. This really does make for good writing. The other best of the best teas. So I've mentioned the green. The Gyokuro is the best green. Gyokuro. I forget what it means in Japan. It means something though. I've shown you the white tea, the Silver Needle White, and those blend together, and I try and come up with a name for it, like, Snowy Pines or something. Come up with names for your drinks, but you got the green and the Gyokuro, and then the white tea added to that for the second brewing. It's like the idea of like a snowy pine tree, and it works well. And honey is okay for that blend too. So you can mix with what teas go well together, and I'll show you another good mix. I've reordered a big bag of the Golden Yunnan Premium. It's a Chinese black tea, and these are beautiful as well. Good coffee substitute. And I don't get sometimes the lethargy with this. After Gyokuro, sometimes it just makes me want to lay down if I have it on an empty stomach right for about an hour. I think the L-theanine just like sedates me. But this, smoother ride, really great for second brewings. Spilled some, but these leaves are just beautiful. And they have good pictures on their website, but it's Golden Yunnan Premium. There's another like Golden Yunnan black tea variety, but this is the premium. I just went for that. Smells good, brews up really nice and smooth, and it's got black and gold tea leaves in there. Very good, and it has like a nice like reddish brew to it. So, but the black tea does have more caffeine, so if you're wanting something, sometimes for the second brewing, I like to add the South African rooibos. I believe it's pronounced rooibos, not rooibos. And this is it's probably going to make a mess. But it's very granular, I guess. That's just how it is. It's like a red. It's sweet. And if you want like a smoother second brewing of your black tea, this adding 1 or 2 teaspoons of rooibos to that. Rooibos is excellent blend with the Golden Yunnan Premium Black Tea. So adding that South African red rooibos is a good way for a smooth transition. Because that's the other reason I like tea while I'm writing, especially on the weekends. I can drink it all day. With coffee, you drink it all day, you start getting tension. You know, unless you're built different, like some people can have insane amounts of coffee. And I've always been that way, but now that I'm getting into my 30s, perhaps, you know, my tolerance is changing. But yeah, it's fun to experiment with tea blends that you can do. Let's see. I got some. Okay, so back to Japan. This one is really great for the fall. It's Houjicha. It's a Japanese. It's on a technicality, it's technically green, I think, but it's brown, and it smells amazing. It's like, imagine, I don't know. It's like, it's a twig tea, so they toast the stems. No, they're not ripping you off by putting stems in there. It's just the tradition, but it's got stems and leaves, and the stems float. So you're gonna need the filter for this one, but it just smells like amazing. Toasted. You want to say like twigs and like the brown leaves you rake up in the fall, but it's better than that. It's like a nice it's one of a kind. Less caffeine since it's technically green and toasted, but this Houjicha, I would get, you know, you can get the sampler or the 2 ounce, but you won't be disappointed. That's a very cozy, nice drink. It's a little bit of a lift, great flavor, very unique. Other honorable mention, if you want like something at night, they're Chamomile USA. I think they have an Egyptian one too, but I went with the USA. I mean, it's not that busted up stuff you get in a tea bag. You don't got to worry about like all the microplastics you can see floating around from a tea bag. That's why I went loose leaf, because tea bags, even the paper looking ones, are often made with plastics and things like that. But these, you got the real, that smells so sweet and good. But you got the chamomile with the nice, like, complete pieces in there, the buds. I've had this one for a while. I don't do it too often. And it's supposed to be 2 tablespoons per 8 ounces. So if I'm going to do, like, yeah, I mean, that's a very, like, you'll have more leaf and stuff than this at the end. Like, that's a lot of chamomile, but it makes a really good cup, and it is relaxing. Don't have my glasses on because of the glare, but yeah, I got Gyokuro, Houjicha, Rooibos, making sure I got through all of them. Silver Needle, Golden Yunnan Premium, and Chamomile. I've tried so many other ones, but those are the greatest hits. Like, I've tried other greens, but I think Gyokuro is the ideal green tea, because other green teas have a different flavor. I don't know how to describe it, but Gyokuro is like the best. Other green teas from like China or other places, like, they have a totally different flavor profile, but I feel like Gyokuro, and the way the Japanese do it, is the way the green tea should taste. And it makes for a good, you can drink it all day, you can do multiple brewings and add a little bit more to keep the strength going without overdoing it like coffee. You can try different blends and things, and it's nice that it's organic. They source it well. But yeah, tea is the number one drink for writers. Hope you got something out of this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Give it a try. I know arborteas.com, as in Ann Arbor, so arborteas.com is where I get mine. I'll be placing another order soon. So I have my Gyokuro and white tea by next weekend. But yeah, give it a try. Give it a try. You will enjoy it. Cheers.